This Transformers 96 here, another end of the year ranking video. This time I'm going to be ranking the 6 superhero movies that came out in 2016, as well as Rogue One from my least favorite to my favorite. So I'm making this video just about superheroes movies in Rogue One because I have a lot of trouble comparing these type of movies to regular movies just because I'm a big fan of these. So how do I judge, whether a disappointing superhero movie is better than a really great regular movie for me? It's hard to compare them. So I did decide to make three separate movie ranking videos this year. I've done one ranking my 5 favorite regular movies, one ranking my 5 least favorite regular movies, and now doing this where I'm just going to rank all of the superhero movies as well as Rogue One from my least favorite to my favorite. There was obviously 7 movies that came out this year, 6 comic book movies, and 1 Star Wars. So let's get on to it. So I was very excited for all of these movies. Some I was slightly more excited than others, but no matter what, I'm just, whenever a comic book movie is going to come out or a Star Wars movie, I'm super stoked for it, and I really do get super excited for them. So let's get it started here with my most disappointing one of the year. I would have to say is Batman v Superman. And this is still good. Like, I still enjoyed it. Like, even the worst comic book movie, I'll still enjoy. But I did find that Batman v Superman was disappointing. It didn't have the type of story that I was hoping for. It was played out the way that I expected it to be played out, but some of the stuff didn't have as much of emotional punch as I was hoping, especially with the disturbance with Batman versus Superman, what the whole title is about. I thought that their fight together was really plain and wasn't too good, and it was over too fast, and the way it ended was really poor, and I didn't like the pacing in this movie at some points. Just the entire thing as a whole, like, I like some of the concepts, it just wasn't executed that well, and I have made a full review for that. For most of these, I think I've made a review for, so you can probably check that out if you like a more descriptive review on each of these by me. But personally, it was my most disappointing movie, superhero movie / Star Wars movie of the year. It was alright, but definitely not what I was hoping for. The next one, I would have to say Suicide Squad. Now, I'm not like a DC hater like a lot of people seem to be. I love DC, I love Marvel, and I love Star Wars, and I love Transformers. I love all 4 of those type of franchises. They're fun in their own ways. But Suicide Squad it might have been my most anticipated movie of the entire year, and it's hard for me to say, it was disappointing. I left the theater like, hey, that was fun, but it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. I love the character designs, and I love the fun action sequences and everything. It was really fun in that manner, but I will say that the story itself is very plain, and the way that it's cut together is really choppy, and it's... I just watched it again on Blu-ray, and I have to say some of the ways that this is cut together, particularly at the beginning, is just really poor, and like I would have totally started the movie out in a different manner. But it's fun to see these characters, and I love Harley Quinn, so to see her on screen for the first time was extremely fun. And the Joker, for me, the more I think about it, the more I dislike Jared Leto's Joker, because I left the theater going, yeah, that was okay as far as the Joker went, but as I think about it more and more, I'm more and more disappointed with Jared Leto's Joker. But what are you gonna do? At the time I did enjoy it, and as I'm starting to look back on it, I am finding more and more flaws, or at least the flaws are starting to bug me more than they did at the first place. But I still enjoyed it. It's still a fun comic book movie. It's not as good as it could have been, that's for sure. Then next we have, let's see here. X-Men Apocalypse. This is a movie that a lot of comic book fans and just a lot of moviegoers in general really disliked. Not me. I really enjoyed X-Men Apocalypse. I think that it's really well done for what they were trying to juggle in this movie. It had a ton of just wow moments. As a comic book fan, Quicksilver's second big scene, fantastic. The Weapon X scene cameo with Wolverine was fantastic. The Jean Grey scene at the end was fantastic. There were so many just wow moments in the movie that I just really enjoyed, and I thought that the plot line was simple enough, but it didn't get convoluted, at least in my opinion, and I kind of enjoyed that. It was a nice kind of classic type of X-Men movie to me. It's definitely not my favorite, but I do really like it a lot, and I have a lot of trouble seeing what everybody dislikes about it, to be perfectly honest. Like, I can see why some people hate Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman. Like, I kind of get what they're coming from, even though I don't necessarily agree. I can kind of see it. But with X-Men Apocalypse, I really don't see the problems like a lot of people seem to. So that's just my opinion, though. Then fourth place we'll have Deadpool. Deadpool I loved, so I was very surprised that it did end up only at fourth place on this list. But I love Deadpool. I thought it was fantastic. It was exactly what I was hoping for it to be, and it did exactly what I was hoping. It was edgy, it was funny, it was full of action. It was just it was perfect. It was exactly what I was expecting. It didn't disappoint whatsoever, and it met my high expectations, which is great. So really love Deadpool, just like everybody else. Can't wait to see what they do with the sequel. Although with the director gone, who knows if it'll turn out as good. Now, let's see. Third place goes to Doctor Strange. This was a movie that I would probably have put low on my list before the year started as far as what I was most anticipating. Doctor Strange was something that, because it's a superhero movie, I was excited for it, but I was certainly not super excited for it. And by the time it came out, it was great. I really loved it. It's a very fun, I would kind of call it a cozy Marvel movie. I feel like Marvel movies have this kind of cozy feel to them, as far as they're rather formulaic, but they're good. You can really get behind their characters. They're very relatable, and they have their own very unique storylines, which I like a lot. And I really did enjoy Doctor Strange's. It was no different. I think that in some ways it was one of the best origin stories that I've seen from Marvel, and I really loved it. I think the villain was kind of weak, but that's basically to be expected. But the film as a whole, I enjoyed it. I've seen it. That's the movie I've seen the most times this year. I've seen that 9 times. I really did love Doctor Strange. Now we'll get into number 2. Number 2, I'm going to put Star Wars Rogue One. I kind of debated putting this at number 1, but I feel like that was because of the hype around it right now, because it just came out. But when I do kind of think back on it, I think that I would put this at number 2. I wouldn't put it at number 1. I really enjoyed Rogue One. I have some issues with the pacing at the very beginning, but then I think that once it focuses up, it's a really solid movie, and the ending is spectacular. The third act is super rich and just really wonderful to see. A war film set in the Star Wars universe. Super cool. It has some really gratifying, amazing sequences that we've wanted to see in a Star Wars movie for so long, that we finally get to see in this one. And I really do respect their bold choices on how to end the movie as well. So really love Star Wars Rogue One. It was pretty great. And my second, favorite movie when you rank it in with the superhero films this year. So now my number 1 is obviously the one that I haven't said yet. It's Civil War. This is kind of, I feel like it's, a safe bet here. I feel like everybody's going to say Civil War was their favorite superhero movie of the year. But how can I deny what's true? I enjoyed it the most, I would say. It was exactly what you were expecting, basically. It was what you wanted. It was, the heroes fighting each other. It did what Batman v Superman did, but it just did it in a much better, more focused manner. And I really enjoyed the fact that the teams of the superheroes fighting each other. It made it feel fresh and interesting. It really was like an Avengers movie. It didn't feel like a singular Captain America movie to me, except when the third act kicked in. That was more personal. It was great to get that middle fight sequence, which was just a lot of fun and a lot of craziness, and the experimenting with powers and just everything that we kind of like want to see. And then we get to the last act that is a much more personal fight, because there is real emotion behind it, and it's personal emotion. It's not ideas. It's because the fight in the middle is more of a mental fight, because they have decided that they want to stick this way. This is what they believe in, so they're going to fight like that. But the last one at the end is an emotional fight. It's fighting from the heart, which gives it more of a kick. And obviously, with the characters being limited to only 3, the emotional kick is much stronger, because each of them has a different but strong emotional feeling towards each other in that moment, which really made the fight spectacular. And it did what Batman v Superman did wrong. It gave us a better heroes fighting each other story that didn't seem gimmicky, that did seem to actually fit within this universe. So I loved it, and I would definitely say it's my favorite superhero movie of the year. So there you go. That's my ranking. Again, this is just my personal opinion, so don't, if you loved a movie that I put low on this list, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed every single movie on this list, and I really do like them. I own them all, as long as they're out at the moment. I do own them, and if they're not out, I plan to get them all. And great superhero movies this year. I mean, we had so many this year that, you know, there was bound to be a few good ones. And this year, for me personally, just about all of them were really great. There was some disappointing factors in Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman, but as a whole, I enjoyed them tremendously. So there you go. That's my ranking video where I ranked the 6 superhero movies as well as the 1 Star Wars movie that came out this year from my least favorite to my absolute favorite. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think of my list. Let me know what your list would be. And thanks so much for watching.